that know when to push the button to keep the house from going broke. We, who were taught to hide from each other in phrases of stilt, in praise of another, in rectangles of silence, in suits of lorded over, in mates of constraint, in grasp of look out, in guises we now eschew. Strange how you and I got to be us, knowing that this shit is real, that this shit needs to stop. It is to us who know the songs of peace to pick up weapons, knowing who dares raise his arm in anger without knowledge of self, murders. And we know we create no justice in unjust acts.
Yep.
Yet there are times, Lord, there are times. What's the point of using an arachnid anyhow? So tiny, if I had used red ink, that is, if the electric typewriter cartridge did its spray job on the page in the color of blood like the writer thinks, this minuscule 8-legged mover would have been a period, wandering mistakes all over the paper. The writer watched it scoop and said, "There's another living reason most punctuation just gets in the way." Thinks about ending his first novel with a black widow, though.
To our hand, the rare bird. All right.
Hey. Oh, don't forget.
Yeah, don't forget his
a
book.
red wine or 1695.
Yeah, I think you got to make your choice there. And he reminded me that I too can say, oh, I have a couple of my books here because you're interested. You talk to me after the break or wherever.
Yeah.
Anyway, and there's a deal there. I never sell them for the price on the cover. I always chop it down significantly. Anyway, so one of my favorite parts of the evening is to introduce the feature, and it's one of the sweetest things about doing this is you get to look at somebody in the eye and brag on them to the people. And they go, "Oh, how did he find that out?" But I'm not going to do any of that stuff. I'm just going to tell you that the person has a real heart. Now, I've said that before about other people, but for him it's particularly true and salient because that's where I believe his writing comes from. It's where his soul is moved. His soul is wide open, like the song goes, the Sufi song, the door is wide and open between the worlds between the two worlds, the two universes, that which is and that which may well yet be, and the heart of God comes through that. And there's more, but the quality of his voice, just the physical voice, the acting, the nuance, the touch, it comes across on the page, so you'll enjoy what you're about to hear. Mr. Bill Bartnock, come on up here and just kick us in the balls of our eyes. Give him a nice round. Come on, warm it up in here.
Oh, you deserve it, buddy.
I'm going to start it with a poem by Carol Lee Sanchez, because this is 40 years since she recreated poets in the schools. She went all around the state and met all the poets in all the different areas, and then she went to the schools and said, there are all these poets in your area that should be teaching your students how to write poetry. And it worked, and it's still working. So she did while she was going around, she did Whistle Stops, which was a series of poems on her excursions all around. And this one is called Santa Monica. There's the chemistry of it to consider, you said. That no-stop want that happens just like that. I know that instant, I said, tracing sandstone and a girl-boy memory back to Electric 16 and a cool cave under Dead Man's Corner in Tierras Canyon, where our mouths connected to make the current flow. We only held each other, didn't break the spell, and I never saw him again. You offer whiskey breath, a glass of wine, and an ocean view, while I mumble, nice place. Wine is the discoverer of secrets, Confucius say, or the other side of the coin not shown, I said. The fashionable moment of the easy lay subdues these careful courtships, runs them underground to surface again when better times come around. Annex my propriety, if you will. It bothers me to know my chemistry is missing yours. So it's around that time that I wrote this, because Carol Lee and her sister Paula Gunn Allen took me to my first powwow.
All right.
Powwow, a convergence. I bring the angels here. They were here all the time, though I didn't know, didn't recognize them as such, wanting something everyone could see, like fry bread and beans. People, nations, and ways, dancing to the drum, a center. It is not mine, not here, not in this life. I cannot dance. It would not be right, and so I watch, look in. Friends dance, claiming a who they are, each of us reaching in our own way out and in. To the center we create continually from what we know of being and what we don't. I created the angels to center myself, like Earth on one level, an event growing out of other events, not necessarily occurring in time or being the effect of any visible cause. The silence between drum beats, the movement beyond the steps. What I was becomes a symbol, and I am changing flesh, moving away from child's sorrow, wanting to lighten my heart with love, to trust the rainbow I have created. Tearing open the spaces, I dance inconspicuously, apart and a part of the silence, the movement, the dance that continues.
Wow.
And to continue the 40 years, not the 400, but 40. 40 years ago I did, if you should die a fool, you will be no less wiser for it.
I get that.
I think this is self-explanatory. It's compassion for Reuben. Just everything. Shit dripping from your anus, glasses on crooked, false teeth in a fallen mouth, everything limp against the white wall, unconscious, breathless, so clumsy, so goddamn clumsy, caught with your pants down on the toilet. I didn't want to be there. The beauty of the man was gone. No eyes of kindness, no eyes of understanding, no sentimental twinkle, no personality at all, slouched on shiny white porcelain dripping of shit. I was embarrassed. Something about whiteness, no blood on your shirt, no explanation. Your arms flew up, your weight shifted and dropped. I was trying to pick you up, lay you down comfortably. Artificial respiration, your face blind to sensation, brittle ribs crackling, a slosh of fluids beneath my consciously desperate hands, doubting fingers. I needed your eyes. I was not enough. Failing. I needed your eyes to accept this weakness I couldn't accept. Your eyes. Your eyes. That calm against the coming silence. This is called my first reading. Allen Ginsberg sitting on the floor on stage in Freeborn Hall, 1970, playing a harmonium and chanting Blake's songs of innocence and experience. We sat on the floor and listened. Someone started dancing where he suggested it, and then we were all dancing. No one sat. We started in a circle holding hands, then we broke apart, did our own thing, came back together in smaller groups. We were dancing like hippies at the Fillmore in '67 at a Sunday Zappa freakout. Frank hated it, flipped us off, thought us phony. Alan dug it, encouraged it, his recitation more excited as the evening grew. This was my first poetry reading. I went back the next night. Alan read his own work. He stood at the podium. The audience sat in seats, ponderous, 3-4 times as many as the night before. It was wonderful, but no one danced.
That's yours.
I live in Petaluma, and well, actually now the cities all around us, they've incorporated everywhere, but not us because it costs too much for me to be part of the city. So we live on a small ranch, and we have crickets.
Nice.
That's what we grow. So this poem is called Crickets. 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 I used to turn over wood in my grandfather's lumber yard. Black crickets would be there, along with slugs, potato bugs. They'd be all over at dusk, filling the night outside my window. Crickets create oral constellations like sailors of old. I follow them into dream beyond, looking back. They were my summer home. Crickets, crickets, drowned out by traffic and other forms of human ego. Crickets are a presence like a communal drum. Given enough space, we hear them rub legs together. The sound defines a field, eclipses the fading light, the passing time. This is my latest. It's actually a journal entry, but I liked it. It's called Bale of Straw. Blue skies over the hills, above the town, clouds. It's February. The narcissus blooms about 20 feet from where we planted it. 9 deer in the meadow, doe eyes alert over black tails. I feed the cat colony. I'm old news. No doe moves as I exit. Last month's rain, a memory, embedded in a 4-year drought. Grass grows on a bale of straw where the lawn used to be. pen to paper. I touch pen to paper, a line, uninteresting, but miraculous to the caveman cut off by culture. I breathe the air here, and all the faded sounds, distant starlight enters me in its relevant disguise. I've carried the croaking frog from last week's walk to dump it into this line. I couldn't find it in the landscape, but I can see it now. The ego is like that. As to the forgotten, the irrelevant, even the unknown, the ego washes its hands. And yet, we claim an expanding universe.
Yeah.
This is called tectonics. On 9/11, it was an ordinary day. For some reason, to check traffic weather, I turned on the TV. Not usual, rare. And just in time to catch the first plane slam into the tower. The announcer's confusion reflected my own. Something in me knew had been drawn. It wasn't I. Like the dream before Loma Prieta, going to the World Series, I stepped into quicksand, started sinking. Who knew? It wasn't I, until the building shook. The tectonics of consciousness. Below is within, is heaven.
Yeah.
How am I doing on time?
Oh, you have another 7 minutes, something like that. You're good. Let you entertain us. Oh, hold on a second, Bob. Yeah. Cord came out of the mic. Maybe that's why.
Okay. Am I more easily heard now?
Yes. All right.
Okay, this is from I can't even think of the name of my series now, but it's on Orion. Oh, Below the Belt, that's it. This is a Cisnea. It is written in the stars. We feel it in our first atom, Orion on the water, blind, trying to make gold and put it in a book. In that same blank book, she held, illuminated by stars, and this promise of gold. No one needed to split an atom. Greed made us soul blind, with only one toe in the water. The primal waters are not H2O. I didn't read that precisely in a book. Orion wasn't blind when he was thrown into the field of stars. He was clairvoyant stardust with every last atom, having turned his lead into gold. As the golden dawn is gold. Orion rises on the horizon of that water, transforming each and every atom on Earth into the eternal storybook, radiated and ideated by the stars and readable to the eyes of the blind. Each day Orion returns to the time he was blind, not wishing the Midas touch gold, and gives thanks to the innumerable stars whose light reflects on both waters, and whose presence can be found in a book translated by Earth, atom by atom. Every atom is a conscious atom, and even though we are blind to the invisible dimension, we wrote the book, long before machines mined that gold. We were fully immersed in that soulful water and breathing the dissolved light of stars. For the mind of stars reflects in each atom as we drink the water of many dimensions, blind at first to the gold that creates our book. I got two more.
Good. Perfect.
This is called Ode to Sirius.
Yeah.
Am I doing it again?
Yeah. Just step a little forward and
Oh, okay.
yeah, there you go. That's good.
Okay, I'm starting a poem series on Sirius, and the Dogon are a tribe that were in Egypt back in the ancient Egypt times, and then they got out when Egypt was invaded by northern.
Celts. Was it the Celts?
I think it was like the Urals or the Arals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now they're in Mali. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
So, and they can still read the writing of the ancients. So it's amazing. Anyway, and they also Sirius, the brightest star we know, we can see, surrounded by dark rays of energy, a music. The tides of my blood listen. I do not comprehend. Atoms dance like mist off an ocean. Break off, regroup, a new molecule. Detritus picked up as discovery. I am composed of atrocities committed. I come back redeemed, the saxophone solo, the spinning blue in its expansive style. We have Dogon. I look up at the moon. Starlight touches 3 blades of grass. 4 millennia ago, gleams inside my body. Now, the Dogon knew. The Dogon knew. Sirius is a double star. Cells remember all previous forms they have been part of. The world gets faster. Mirrors don't stop. We stand on Earth looking up. Good circulation in my feet. In the beginning, there was Isis, oldest of the old.
Nice.
But it was just interesting because the Dogon knew that Sirius was a double star.
Yeah.
And we only knew this past century, whereas they knew it 4,000 years ago.
I understand
Yeah.
indigenous people here also.
Yeah. And my last one will be Stardust, and it's for Avacha, who has a poem that inspired this one. I am at Aqua's Cafe, planet Earth, sipping a cappuccino, reading and writing about Sirius, about how 4,000 years ago the Egyptians saw archetypes in the nighttime sky, Isis as Sirius, our brightest star, a double, maybe triple star orbiting each other, that upon the collapse of Sirius B, now a white dwarf, the ascension of the ascension of Osiris, to a higher, more exalted frequency. Isis acquired Osiris's terrestrial power in Sun Horus, and Sirius C, not seen since 1929, the year of the Great Depression, as Sister Nephthys, the hidden one, a water goddess, feminine aspect of Neptune, ruler of the unconscious. A mythical drama we've carried forward. Only the names have been changed. The names have been changed. I remember riding Muni in the mission many years ago, standing, holding on to an overhead rail, neck craned, looking up at my first book by H.D., who introduced me to this story, thinking, I don't understand. Thinking, this is different. being exposed to an unacknowledged self, enthralled, seeing one thing and also seeing another through it, through time. Stars are not in time. Time, a human tool. Time, how we fight against chaos, against Set, Osiris's brother, Isis's brother, Nephthys's brother. Stars shine through human darkness, through space, through time. Do you see in the nighttime sky an outer space of star radiance, an inner space of star radiance? Joker moon riding never-ending wave, reflecting each of us in our lifetimes, particles of light.
Wow. Well, right now, ladies and gentlemen, get some whistling out there. Thank you, Bill.
All right, we're going to take about a 10-minute break. During that break, the streaming will be off because I don't want inadvertent conversation to be carried over. And we'll be back in about 10 minutes, and we got a stellar second half.
He wants to say something. I'll go over the second half in just a minute.
To reiterate, this coming Friday at the Beat Museum, and I believe it is at 6 o'clock, but check the Beat Museum website. Justice is putting together some women poets. I know 3 of them. I'm sorry I can't tell you the other ones. Cassandra.
Cassandra Dallett.
She one of them. Okay.
I think so, yeah.
Also E.K. Keith.
Yeah.
Valerie Ibarra. And, oh God, the other
Isn't
person.
Kim Schuck there?
Yeah, Kim Schuck. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's
How could you forget her?
I guess I just did.
Okay.
So anyway, just wanted to let people know and support the women poets. Come on,
All right.
guys.
All right.
I know, I love it.
So before I put it on the pause, we have in the second half, we have Karen Hubb, David Zeltzer, Cesar Love, Clyde Always, Nicole Savage, Gene Powell, Karen Melander Magoon, Hal Robbins, and Clara Sue. So this is a second half. A second half to beat all second half. So we'll be back in a few minutes.